channel. Today's video is a period parlay. You guys should know by now, I think that knowing yourself, knowing your period is immeasurable, like the benefits that knowing your body, knowing your period, knowing what's normal for your period, what's abnormal. There's so much strength and so much power, especially if something's wrong or if something changes. The ability to know and understand your period is just something that I feel strongly about. And so this period parlay, I wanted to talk about period products. Pads, tampons, the disc, the cup, and then I'm going to actually unbox some period panties that I just bought, never used, so you guys will get to review that with me, the first impressions. I'm really excited about that, but let's just jump into it and let's talk about these period products. So number one, the OG, probably what 9 out of 10 girls start off with, the pad. So this is a light pad. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. With wings, because I just recently bought this and I didn't know that they made pads that didn't come with wings. To me, the wings are invaluable, because how else do you keep them from moving around, and also the spillage that goes over the edges of the underwear. So anyway, this is a light and also short, or I should say regular pad. So the absorbency, that's something that we're going to talk about for all of the period products, absorbencies, but manufacturers of period products are regulated by the FDA, and so they're supposed to use the same absorbency levels, and light would be 6 grams, which I actually prefer to use milliliters just because, I don't know, that's how my brain thinks about it, but the grams to milliliter conversion is a 1-to-1 conversion. So if it says 6 grams, it is also equivalent to 6 milliliters. And that's just like how I like to think about it. But a light absorbency is anything less than up until 6 milliliters. Regular, which this is a regular pad, holds anything from 6 to 9 milliliters. Then super is 9 milliliters to 12 milliliters. And then I believe there's super plus is 12 to 15 milliliters. And then the ultra is 15 to 18 milliliters. So again, this pad with wings is good for an 8-hour wear. So this one is light, and as you can see, it's fairly short. They do have other pads that are also good for overnight. They look way bigger than this, but they're pretty good at covering the back end and making sure that you don't have that spillage, that leakage when you wake up in the morning. I really do like those overnight ones, but I have not used a pad regularly for a very long time. I just find I can't get over the diaper feeling. I'm not comfortable with it, but I don't shame anybody that uses pads, because whatever floats your boat and whatever works for you. Pads can be disposable like this one, but there are also the reusable like cloth pads that people do use when they're menstruating. Again, I did only use these as a reinforcement. I had a couple of tampons that were not the right absorbency, but all I had was that absorbency and some pads, so they were good for any kind of leftover or any kind of spillage or anything like that. So it's not like I will never use a pad, but for me, it's just not my preference. Now, next thing I want to talk about are tampons, which this is like my go-to. I always use tampons. Well, I can't say that. I use them for a very long time. They would be my go-to. Right here I have a regular, and then I have a super, and then this is the super plus. So just think back to those absorbencies. I'm only going to actually show you guys the regular, if you're not familiar with opening a tampon, this is actually something that I've come across. When you open a tampon, you should open it from well, it also has arrows on it. I should have showed that before, but it has arrows to show you which end to open it, which would be the plunger end. So I'm going to open this one up. Now, this is, I'm not sure what brand this is. This was one of those emergency. I asked somebody for a tampon and they gave it to me. The reason why I know that is because this is actually a scented tampon. And obviously you guys just saw me take it out the wrapper, but it's a scented tampon, and I do not recommend scented tampons. There's no reason for it in my opinion, and it's just unnecessarily adding chemicals into your body while you're menstruating. So avoid it if you can. When I had gotten this tampon, which you can see I actually didn't even end up using it, it was like in an emergent situation where I was like, oh my God, I don't have any products. But when you open it, you again want to follow the arrows on the packaging so that you're opening it from this plunger end and not the applicator end. Because remember, the applicator end is the end that goes inside of your vagina. So not only should you be washing your hands prior to inserting your tampon, but you definitely, especially if you're not washing your hands, I'm not judging anybody, but if you're not washing your hands before you're applying a tampon and you're touching the applicator end, Lord knows what you're introducing to your body. So that's just one of my little tips and tricks. So as far as insertion is concerned, and also because I do want to show the tampon, I'm going to use my hand. And imagining that my hand is the vulva, you want to make sure that you are inserting it all the way up until your fingertips are touching your vulva. You press down on the plunger and you would go ahead and pull out the applicator. And so again, this is the tampon. Just holding it like this also reminded me there are still tampons that don't come in an applicator. Definitely if you're utilizing those tampons, wash your hands before application, because in order to insert it when it's not in the applicator, you have to, one, be touching the tampon itself, and then two, you have to use your finger to fully insert it into the vagina. So wash your hands for sure. But I'm going to open this bad boy up. As you can see, if it was inside of me or the person who's menstruating, it would open up while it's absorbing the blood, and then you go ahead and you just pull on the string to remove it. Again, even when I just open this up with my hands, it smells very strongly of perfumes, and I don't know what's the obsession with, strong or sweet smelling perfumes, but you don't need that down there. So avoid it if you can. I know some people find it comforting, the idea of it being scented, but just avoid it if you can. This is just coming from, again, I'm not a medical professional just yet, but I am training to be one, and there's really no need for that extra fragrance that's added to these tampons. Tampons have one thing I don't think I mentioned. You can wear tampons for about 8 hours at a time. Now, the important aspect of that is you have to make sure that you are inserting your tampon correctly. So, for example, if you're inserting your tampon, but then it's been 8 hours, and when you remove the tampon, it's only half saturated, depending on where you are in your cycle. Obviously, you could be coming towards the end, but if you experience leaking and the tampon that you removed is only half saturated, then you didn't insert the tampon far enough into the vagina. So when you insert your tampon, you shouldn't feel anything. It should kind of be like floating with the string hanging on the outside. It shouldn't feel like, oh, I can feel it when I walk, or I can feel it. That means it's not inserted properly. You definitely want to remove it and try again. And I remember as a teen, nobody really taught me how to put in a tampon, I guess you could say. So if you think that, oh, I'm supposed to feel it, I'm going to be the person that tells you you're not supposed to feel your tampons when you put them in. Another thing is that if you're changing your tampon greater than every 2 hours, you're not using the appropriate absorbency for your period. And if you are using the appropriate absorbency for your period level and you are still changing your tampon every 2 hours, I would definitely make note of that and see if that's different from your usual, because then depending on how many tampons, pads, whatever it is that you're changing over the course of the day, you might have something called heavy menstrual bleeding, which could be caused by several factors, and you definitely want to follow up with your midwife, with your OB, with your nurse practitioner, whoever your provider is. You definitely want to have that written down somewhere, especially also noting blood clots, the size and the frequency, and talk to your provider about that, because if you're wearing the adequate absorbency and the tampon is inserted correctly, you should not be changing it. You should not be having to change it more than every 2 hours, especially for greater than, I would say, 4 to 5 days of bleeding. Yeah, I would definitely talk to a provider, or maybe if it's very acute, like this is definitely not your usual, I would even go and seek emergency services because you're having acute abnormal bleeding. But that's enough about tampons. Let's move on to this guy here. So this is my Flex. No, this isn't the Flex. The Flex is the brand name. I actually don't remember what brand name it is because I lost the big box that this came in. But this is a disposable cup. I'm going to open it up for you guys. I like the cups because the pads and the tampons had 8-hour wear. And I'm calling it a cup. It's a disc. We do have a cup that we're going to review together. But the disc and the cup, they both have 12-hour wear. So that could be really, really good depending on your situation. So I'm opening this up. And this is how it looks. And this is it fully expanded here. And again, make sure you want to wash your hands. And the way that you insert it is you pinch it down like this. And you would go ahead and insert it up into the vagina. So this one is trickier to insert. I like it because the disc, not only can you wear it for 12 hours, it holds more, obviously. Look at the bag, and that's also why it's a 12-hour wear. But you really have to be in tune with your body. So inserting it, again, you want to put it up into the vaginal canal, push it as far back as you can, and then ideally it will sit up and cap. I'm going to insert some pictures if I can find some good ones. It will sit kind of upwards just like this into the vagina. If anything, it should sit a little bit back like this. And then the bag will be filled when you're going ahead to menstruate into the disc. So I like these, but it's like a hit or a miss. So again, you really have to know what you want. This one is disposable. It came in like a pack of 6, I believe. But it's not one of the higher end brands, so maybe that's my issue with it. But the difference is that the ring here can be different firmnesses. Firmnesses have different levels of firmness. And I think that has a lot to do with the way that it sits. Especially insertion is very easy just because it's so small. It's about the same size as, the tampon applicator once you pinch it down and you insert it. And then you don't really feel anything when it opens up within the vaginal canal. And again, it can hold a lot. But one thing that I did, it could be considered a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. But the way that my disc would empty itself when I urinated. So because to relax your muscles when you're urinating, it would slip down a little bit and it would empty some of the blood out. And then once I would see the blood in the toilet, I'm like, oh, did it slip? So I would go ahead and I would push it back up. And then I was constantly worrying, like, oh my gosh, what else is going to make it slip if I cough, if I do this or whatever. So although I really did like the idea that you know, it's 12-hour wear. When I inserted it, I'm usually inserting and taking it out in the shower. So that's really convenient because I don't really care, you know, too much about where the blood goes. But I would probably have to put a little bit more money into this before I decided whether or not this was something that I would go back to or not. As for now, I would say that I rate it definitely less than the menstrual cup. So speaking of which, let's move on to the menstrual cup. So I have the Athena cup. It came in this cute little pouch, so this is how I carry it. It's also purple, which is my favorite color. You clean it by boiling it. So first you wash it in hot water and soap, and then you boil it to sterilize it in between periods. I like this cup because, one, it's very soft. If I had to compare it to the firmness of the disc, this is very crunchy compared to like how easy it is for me to squeeze down and to insert it. Also, I like that it has, you won't be able to see it, but inside the rim of the cup, it has measurements. So this one holds about 15 mLs, and so that's right along with the Super Plus absorbency. And so this is another 12-hour wear. This one is a little bit, again, it's right back with the disc. You have to know your body. So I suggest getting a mirror, washing your hands, and spending some time down there and really figuring out what and how to insert your cup or disc. So this is another shower insert for me. I prefer the U fold, so you would press it down and then you would create a U, and this is how you would take it and insert it into the vagina. I usually start with a downward motion and then just push it all the way up until it's sitting. So the recommendation is to keep pushing, obviously, until the stem is fully inside of the vaginal canal. So that was a big issue for me when I first ever put it in. I was so scared that it was going too high up, so I had the stem like sitting right below, right outside of the vulva, which is wrong. I experienced so much leaking, it was horrible. But once I got it right, it really truly saved me from so many tampons. I think like my box of tampons last like at least 3 cycles when I am going between using the cup and the tampon. It's more often than not, I use it overnight actually, because I find that I don't have to deal with leaks. That's my biggest problem. I don't really deal with daytime leaking, but that nighttime thing, it just sneaks up on you. I really hate that. So this one right now, this one changed my world. I'm not gonna lie. Again, super soft. It takes more than one try. It took me about 3 cycles to even fully understand how to use it, but I truly recommend it. Oh, one thing I didn't talk about. So if you want to take it out, you should reach inside. I find this to be the easiest. When you're reaching inside, I like to do a little pinch. So when I pinch, it pulls it away. So it pulls the seal, the suction that it's making, it pulls it away, and then you can take it out. And again, I also like this because this is going to be the most accurate measurement, because again, you have the lines inside that tell you exactly how much you've menstruated that day. I think this was the most surprising also, because when I removed it, even after 12 hours, I only had like, probably this whole thing was full. So the 15 ml mark is about to here on the inside. And I would say that I probably had like maybe 1 if 2 ml over that. And I'm like, in 12 hours, you would think like when you change your tampons, like, oh, I'm bleeding so much. And then you see it in here and you're like, it's really not that much at all. So this is a winner for me. This is a keeper. I also like that it's reusable, of course. And it just, again, stays in this little pouch when I need it and keeps me dry all night. Okay, I think it's time to get on to the period panties, which I have not even opened since I ordered them. So we're going to open them together. So this is the Thinx And no, I got no promotion or anything. I just bought these because I was interested and I wanted to do it for you guys. I got the organic cotton brief. And then I got the sport. And it's in, both of them are actually for moderate day absorbency. I'm going to go ahead and take them out and show you guys. Okay, I'm liking it already. It's very cute. I like the color. I got it in an extra small, but I'm low-key feeling like these are ginormous. So I'll have to update you guys once I put them on. So right away, it feels really nicely. This one is the sport. Definitely feels like a polyester. Let me see, where is it? It doesn't say the materials. No, nylon. So it's 89% nylon in the body. And then the seat, that would be the absorbent. Let me flip it inside out. So the absorbency starts from here. And you can tell also just from feeling it, it's very thick in this section in the seat of the underwear. I kind of like it because, I don't know, I was very nervous about the idea of period underwear. But it feels like it would be pretty absorbent. It doesn't go up that high in the back for me. Like if you had the overnight pads, you would see that it, or you would know that it goes kind of up the back a little bit more. I think I would have liked that, but who knows? I haven't tried them on yet. Let's open the other one. Okay, so these are the organic cotton. Right away, I like the way these ones feel way more than the nylon ones. Yeah, I could definitely tell the difference between the cotton. Again, even though this is in a extra small, this looks huge for me personally, and I'm not exactly sure how it's gonna fit. So we will see, and I'll have to definitely do a follow-up video once I actually try these guys out. The seat on this one, let me flip it inside out. I feel like this one actually goes higher up in the back than the other one, so maybe it just has to do with the cut. I'm not exactly sure, but again, the seat feels very thick and feels like it would be absorbent. So I'm not exactly sure if I'm gonna like these now that I have them out of the bag, because the concept of just menstruating, bleeding onto my underwear is kind of scary. But I was scared when I first tried the cup, and I was scared when I first tried the disc, so who knows how it'll be. Like I said, they're both for moderate absorbency, which is supposed to be 3 regular tampons worth. So I'm really excited to kind of do a follow-up to this and be able to show you guys and tell you how they hold up. So thanks again for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Hope you learned something. Leave me a comment about what period products you prefer, or any specific brands, because I think that that's where I kind of fall short. Some of the stuff is a little bit pricey, so especially when you have a very different type of cervix, or you might have a different tilt to your cervix or things of that nature, it's hard to find the perfect product to use. So let me know some good brands, and let me know what you do and what you use to get through your periods. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.